mindless, casual gaming. Mindless, casual gaming. Mindless, casual gaming. Mindless, casual gaming.
Hello, you're listening to Thoughtless Casual Gaming with Brett and Jace. We are a Geelong-based gaming podcast where we plan things badly and then may or may not do them.
Likely not.
Likely not.
Like, if I was a betting man, I would definitely put money on not.
Set your expectations low, people. I mean, you're listening to this, so you've already got them fairly low. But this is episode 1 for 2025. It's a new year.
It's like year number 6, which is terrifying.
Is it really? God.
I think
Yeah.
I've been updating my file naming structure based on year, and it started with 6, so I'm guessing now. Assuming I can file things accurately, this is year 6.
Look, that probably pans out, actually. So we started around about the middle of the year when we started, I think. So we've probably been doing this for 5.5 years. We hit 10,000 downloads the other day, which is 999 more than I expected. No, more than that.
Yeah.
One more 9 more than I expected. Which is just crazy. Who are you people? Why are you listening to this shit? I don't know. But it's a new year. It's not last year anymore. Thank God.
I'm not sure if we're allowed, like, is he to thank?
No.
She to thank? They to thank? Are they to... What is the preferred pronoun? I don't know. I'm going to stop now, and we're just going to move on.
Let's not get into religious pronouns here, because that could get us in a lot of trouble.
Maybe that's why there's so many thys in the Bible. Maybe that's the preferred pronoun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Checks out.
I'll stop. Yeah.
It's not 2024 anymore, which is probably the best thing I can say, because last year was a year. And this year, I'm more hopeful. I'm going in with a positive outlook.
You know, those expectations that all of our listeners decided to set at low. I feel like this episode is potentially just us setting ourselves up with higher expectations.
Probably. We're doing the opposite. We're telling you to set your expectations low, and then we're going to talk about everything that we want to achieve in 2025.
Don't do what Donnie Don't does.
Yes, exactly. So let's talk hobby. There's a lot of things that we can talk about here. Games, first and foremost. Are there games that you want to play that you perhaps haven't played for a while? Things on your radar?
There are far too many things on my radar. And I think, there is going to have to be some way of not diving too deep into anything so I can. And I swear I've said this before on multiple episodes similar to this one, right? But we know that there's a new Blood Bowl season kicking off too soon.
Yes.
And I still have a few people to rope in. So we'll work on that. That is still going to be an absolute staple.
Yes.
Things, though, that are currently on the radar that I am very interested in or have dabbled in and would like to dabble more. I would like to be dabblier. Played a bit of the new edition of Warhammer Underworlds.
Yes, there's been some chat going on about that one. That was on my list for sure.
It pleases me greatly. The whole concept of the new edition, mainly because, as far as I can tell, for people wanting to play relatively casually, the game is it's a lot more streamlined. It's a lot simpler, like not simplified, but it makes more sense. It's still, out of the games I've played, which have been a few now, it still feels like the same game. It's still the same mechanics. It's still the same idea. The warbands still have some differences that are all nice, but it feels like they've just pissed off hyper-competitive players. And I'm all for that. So
That sounds good to me.
it's a win. I think the potential risk now with the game will be it's very much its set deck. So all of your warbands don't have a deck. They're individual, their own deck, but there are just a set universal decks that anyone can use.
Yep.
And potentially an infinite amount that GW could release and then cycle in and out.
Yeah. They're all around the $50-odd mark too, aren't they?
Which is a fucking stupid price for a bunch of cards. Like, it's silly, and I need to work out a more efficient way of getting decks and using them than actually paying retail, because that's not going to happen. But I feel like that's the piece that will be, you don't know this deck, it's not this warband now, it's now this deck, and that's the thing. But at the moment, there's like 6 in total that anyone can use, and then it's just how they play with the individual warband mechanics, which is fun. It's enough, and they can build on it, and it's been really nice. It's been really refreshing, sort of as a player that's dabbled in it over the last few editions and seasons. To go, yeah, okay, I can do this. So that is definitely one.
Yeah, that's definitely on my list. I played that a lot in sort of seasons 1 and 2, probably more 2. Managed to take home a GW tournament, which, this is back when they had like really nice sort of glass trophies that they gave to winners. So I've got my hands on one of those, which I legitimately earned, which is great, but I haven't dabbled in it too much since. It's definitely one that I want to play, but I think I need to, with the cost of those decks, that's somewhat prohibitive. So I think what I need to do is investigate and work out the deck that will work with the warbands that I want to use for all of them. Yeah. Use the same deck.
I ended up pulling the trigger on the core, like the base game, because the board size has changed.
Yep.
Like, it's all that kind of stuff as well. So I just went, right, I need the board. It comes with a couple of warbands that I don't really want to play, but I'll deal with that later. But it comes with 4 of the universal decks that they've already released. So I'm like, okay, we'll get into the ground floor and we'll give that a red hot go. And it's been fun. And they are disappointingly pretty warbands. Like, there are so many that I look at and go, I like those.
Yeah.
It's only half a dozen models.
I collected them all for the first 3 seasons, I think, because they were just easy. It was $50 or $60 or whatever it was. Gives you a handful of beautiful models and some cards that you could, at the time, use with any of them, really. Yeah.
The models are still very pretty, and I am at risk of buying more than I absolutely ever need. Yep. But anyway, so that is definitely one on the want to play more of. The other one that's hitting, there's probably 2 others that are really on the I want to play more. The first one is Necromunda.
Also on my list.
Have played a little bit of. Have assembled a bunch of Spires now. I'm trying to dig up a couple of parts to finish some conversions on those, but they are sitting there going, yeah, we want it. I want to do this. So that is absolutely on the must play more list. And then the last one, which I've been getting a little bit of hype from a lot of old wargaming buddies that have been playing around the traps, is Warmaster. So that's the 15 mil scale, sort of Warhammer style. I've got
Fantasy
a lot of
epic.
Yeah, that one. A lot of my sort of old wargaming crew have dabbled in that and have started picking it up, and a couple of them playing it pretty intensely. So there's a few opportunities going around. And again, it's painting something different. It's a little bit of rank and flank, but at a slightly different scale, which feels a bit more accessible to cart around and whatnot. So that is also one I definitely want to try and get some games in on.
Mm-hmm. I think what we need to do is both of us need to do this in a different way. So, you know how we tend to go and play games on a Tuesday night, right?
Yes.
And every fortnight is a Blood Bowl game.
Correct.
On that other week, we need to play something else. Because I too often will go ahead and just sort of watch people and chill out and enjoy the atmosphere. And you'll be playing Blood Bowl.
It does sound on brand. Yeah.
So if we use some of those weeks to play these other games, we might actually achieve something. Maybe.
Yeah.
Who's to say, really? I have a couple of games, though. Star Wars Shatterpoint. I am really keen to give this a go, even though I finally worked out that one of my warbands that I had ready and primed and dry brushed and ready for paint is illegal.
Oh, fuck. It's your kill team all over again.
So I need to, I've already worked out how I'm going to replace it, but I need to purchase that. But Star Wars Shatterpoint, it pretty much looks like Marvel Crisis Protocol in Star Wars. So I need to play that. So I need to find somebody who knows how to play it so that they can teach me. Next Protocol? One. No, well, we should get some more Crisis Protocol games in first. The other one, Halo Flashpoint. So
that's been talked about.
Yeah. So Josh in our Discord posted that he had finally received his copy. And I was like, ooh, this is a game? Okay. And there was a bit of chat about Halo, and I got a bit hyped up, and I went and downloaded the game again. Because it's on Game Pass. You get like 5 or 6 Halo games for nothing on Xbox. And I've been playing through a few of those, some of them with Alice, and a lot of it with my son. You know, he came up at one point and said, "Can I play?" And I'm like, sure. You know, let's give you a go. Stuck it on easy, and he's been definitely holding his own. So I got a little bit hyped on Halo. So I went out and ordered took advantage of Boxing Day sales, and I ordered the box, and that's come in. And from all accounts, and I've been listening to Truth and Reconciliation, which is a podcast done by one of the guys that does the Fury's Finest, all about Flashpoint. And it pretty much just sounds like a board game, war game version of multiplayer Halo, which is something that could be fun for shits and giggles every now and then. And
am I right in thinking it's Mantic?
Yep.
Yeah, because they've got the whatever it is, the 40k skirmish kill team equivalent of the Mantic. I've seen that played a little bit, and it seems pretty slick in that I think the board has like a grid on it, so it's actually like square-based movement, not a measure thing. And they are very good at. I have a feeling they've basically reskinned it for Halo. I mean, why the fuck not? If the rule system works,
that's it. I mean, the box I got came with like 16 Spartans and 4 of the Covenant, and I'm just going to paint up 8 of those Spartans, and that'll be my team. And if my son wants to paint up the other 8, that can be his team, and have a bit of fun with it.
Glorious. Yeah, and Mantic are really good at finding a good balance between depth and streamlined rules. I find like it's not over the top crazy, but they're not overly simplified as well. So I think they're really good at finding that balance. It'd be an interesting one, and I mean, multiplayer anything is good.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one on the radar. I've got the box sitting there ready, waiting. I started undercoating Spartans for my side the other day. Also being chatted about in the Discord recently is something that was on my list, Gaslands.
It wasn't on my list until it started being talked about. I think this is one of those games of opportunity for me in that it's relatively low investment, low effort. It's one of the games that you can kind of just pick up and run with and
exactly.
do a thing and throw it on the shelf. Or you can go bullshit into it. You can just get balls deep. But
one of those ones, again, it seems like this perfect sort of off Blood Bowl week game where you just sort of whip it out and play with it, and then you get some Gaslands cards out and play with them. Yeah. So I got my cards out again, and that was my attempt at using those colour shift paints with your airbrush.
That's right.
They did not colour shift, but
the colours were not shifting.
No, I'll give it a go if it's a bit of fun. I think we've got a game locked in for this week too.
Yes, that is. Yeah. I think Lee's coming down, Lewis is in, and they're basically, look, I hope they know what they're doing. I know Lee knows what he's doing, but and Lewis looks like he's been pretty keen on it, but it'll be fun. I think a bunch of people are relatively curious and interested. And it's just such a good environment.
Yeah. I think if it's one of these games that, after this week, if it really grabs me, I might, invest in one or two more cars for $3 at Woolies or whatever the Matchbox.
They're currently $2 at both Kmart and Target. And I only know this because it was my son's 4th birthday. And guess who has an influx of Matchbox cars at the moment?
The cheapest birthday present.
There are so many cars.
Couple of 3D printed guns, and away you go.
Off you
go. Also coming this year at some point, Deceased, which is the DC Marvel Zombies game.
Yes.
So that'll have to get a game in. Yeah.
Yes.
And Zombicide as well. I want to get some more games of Zombicide in, especially now that I've picked up the Monty Python.
I love the fact that you posted like that was a hypothetical, should I maybe get this, like you hadn't already purchased.
It was like, because if it was like a Holy Grail set, for example, would have been no question. But because it's all, it was
the Flying Circus one, was
yeah. So it's but it was Arthur Nudge that pushed me over the line. Plus the fact that my second in charge at work just sort of left it in front of me and said, well, if I'm not going to buy it, you have to. So, peer pressure.
Yeah. There is on that kind of that theme, right? I think Marvel Zombies needs a little bit more love. I would say Marvel, what's the other one?
United,
thank you. That was the word I was looking for. I haven't played that in too long. Like there's a few of those games that just need a little bit more love.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Again, good off-week games.
Yes, exactly. Hobby-wise, painting stuff.
I do have the secondary list of opportunistic things that I would definitely play if someone threw at me, right?
Yep.
And that includes Crisis Protocol. If someone started a Mordheim campaign, I'm absolutely in that Mordheim campaign. And on that, Frostgrave was getting chatted about a little bit, which is similar to, but kind of like a...
Yeah, no, I have heard about that one.
Yeah. That Trench Crusade, that will end up being a thing. I'm relatively excited about that just because it feels like it's the first game in a long time that has got multiple different game groups all excited. Like I'm seeing Crisis Protocol players, I'm seeing Warhammer players, I'm seeing War Machine players, I'm seeing Lord of the Rings players all go, oh, this game, we're interested. Like, it feels like a lot bigger than I thought it would ever be. Also, very sexy, and it's really hard to go past the sort of, they have the who's who of game design in the credits. So I'm like, oh. And also, they're just like the 3D printed. You're sure you can get it physical, but no. So
the models are sexy.
They're very pretty. I'm just waiting for them to fix the Hoppler files before I reprint. Anyway, so I've already pulled the trigger on some of that. Said Gaslands. The other one that is getting a little bit of play, and I think is a fun off week game, is Dead Man's Hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that is Yale and Archie have been pushing that pretty hard, but again, really low investment. Cowboy Western shoot 'em up. I kind of went, yeah, mechanics are cool. It's pretty simple. The thing that got me was the way that games are set out in the rulebook. So there's these scenarios, but the scenarios are divided by acts. So It's actually like a spaghetti Western movie. You got Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and they're different objectives. So a game actually has 3 different sets of objectives that you play through. And it just, again, for that kind of narrative story silliness, for something that, again, is now the guys have got all the shit that you need, like pretty low investment. Good off-week game. There's a lot of off-week games going on here. The last two, one, if someone threw a game of Moonstone in front of me, I couldn't say no. Equally, Burrows and Badgers, similar kind of concept. And I came to a realization the other day that one of the things that attracts me to a game is the aesthetic of the game. Like, I probably, that seems obvious, but I feel like there are games where I just went, nah, I don't like the look. And I would say that, like, the Lord of the Rings games has been one of those things. I like high fantasy. I like large-scale battle games. I'm not interested in Lord of the Rings because I don't like the aesthetic. Moonstone, the aesthetic is fucking glorious. And equally, Burrows and Badgers is adorable, and I could not say no. And
Yes, I need to finish painting up my crew for that.
Terrifyingly, I was at Seaview on last Tuesday, and I looked at the table next to me, and someone was setting up this board of the old Terraclips terrain, like the cardboard with the interlocking clay. I looked over, and they pulled out Malifaux crews. Okay. And there was actually somebody there giving someone like an intro game or a starting game of Malifaux. And
okay.
And I had a little bit of a wander over and a cheeky look, and it's terrifying because I got out at third ed when it felt overwhelming, the amount of change. There are now 4 expansions into third ed. Okay. Which is a lot of extra crews and models and rules and stuff. But it was very pretty. And I have so much. And
I have missed our Enforcer Brawls.
I literally had a conversation with somebody like a week ago where they're like, is anyone playing Malifaux? And I'm like, nah, I can't do it. Too much. It's too big. It's too many brain cells required. I couldn't do it. And then this jerk rocked up and started playing it next to me, and I went, oh, really? Oh, it's right there. Oh, so that's my story.
Totally fair. I wouldn't mind. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say no to the odd game of Malifaux. Enforcer Brawl was awesome, even just a small
Yeah.
I mean, I've got third ed models and third ed cards.
Yeah. They're the big ones, like the Tarot Skies ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do I. I also have the extra Enforcer Brawl, like loot cards from
that was
the guys at Steam Powered Scoundrels. Sent it because they wrote like it was like a fan version of the rules that they added extra stuff to make Enforcer Brawls extra wacky, and then they got officially adopted and they made official cards. So I've got a set of the cards I can literally see from here because I haven't cleaned up enough that I haven't tried yet. And that,
all right, thinking.
Too many. Here's the problem.
We can do this. Knock off a couple of those in the first couple of months. Easy. Just odd weeks. All right. Shall we move on?
Hobby.
All right. Hobby. Painting wise, I have a number of things I want to paint. And
Agreed.
most of that is because I managed a grand total. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I painted 24 models.
That is 24 more than 0.
Yeah, it is,
like,
but it's not great. It's the lowest number that I've done since I started recording how many I was painting each year. So I'm aiming for 50 this year. 50 is a good number. I've hit it before.
Yeah,
pretty sure I can get there.
One a week-ish.
Yeah, exactly. Couple of months. I've already started. I mean, some of the things on my list, I want to paint. I've got an Orc Sevens team ready to go. That's what I'm working on now, and I've pretty much finished 2 models. So I'm sort of, on target there. A couple of other teams. I want to paint my vampire team. I want to paint my gnome team. I want to paint a goblin team. Some of this is relating to other things that I'll get to later on in this episode. My Halo guys, want to paint them up. I figure they'll be pretty easy. Undercoat them Ironbreaker or whatever the metallic one is, which of course I had almost enough left in the can to do, but not quite. So I'm going to have to go out and buy another can of that. So Halo, I can paint them up pretty quickly. I want to paint up my Shatterpoint team so that I've got those ready to go. And Underworlds, both the Skaven team. So I've got the Plague Monks, which are half painted already. I want to finish those off. And then there's the new team with the Doom Wheel, which I've assembled and primed, and they're ready to go. So, and I'll throw in as well the Burrows and Badgers team. Let's finish that off. So, all up, I mean, that's 50 models there, probably.
Yeah. It's a high likelihood, or it's not far off, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have a target number, and I don't necessarily have specific things. There's a couple, right? In that I was keen on playing some War Master. I've got most of a Tzeentch Demon Army there. I have started painting that. I feel like that's an achievable thing to get done at some point. I want to play some Necromunda. The Spires are there. I've got an idea in mind for what I want to do with them. That's a thing. There's a new Blood Bowl season. I'm going to need a new team for that. I still don't fucking know what it's going to be.
You've only
but they will need to
like
get
20.
painted. Yeah. I think there's like 4 that are front runners that I can't decide between. And I can't see what other people are choosing, so I can't choose what they're not choosing.
We can talk. We'll talk after.
Okay. So that's going to have to happen. So I'm going to need a new Blood Bowl team for that. But my overarching theory is I often get distracted by projects, and I kind of lose focus and do a thing and it's not finished and whatnot. So what I was sort of considering was not saying, here is my project, I'm going to finish this project, right? But actually go, right, I'm going to focus on this for a month, which is feasibly enough time to finish a project, or finish it and then do some other shit, or depending on what it is. So the idea that I'm kind of leaning towards is go, right, what does my painting for this month look like? What is the thing that I'm focusing on? And then I will just paint that thing until it's done. And then next month I'll move on to another thing. And if I get it done, I can paint something else in the interim. But it's this kind of trying to just focus time on a project, because what I often do is I start something, get partway through with it, get bored with it, stop, paint something else, feel guilty because I haven't finished the thing, then don't paint anything because I don't want to paint the thing that I've been painting, but I feel guilty if I paint anything else because I didn't finish the original project, and then 1,000 things don't get done. So instead of saying this needs to be finished, it's what can I do in a month? And then I can move on. And if I want to do it again, cool. That's a second month I can do. It's just trying to 12 months, 12 projects kind of thing. I should be able to get some stuff done. The other one I was thinking about, and this is because I went on a little bit of a just inspiration search, and I ended up finding a bunch of images of ridiculously well painted models that I just went, this is amazing. And I got a lot of them printed out at like sort of large scale photo size and framed and threw them up over my painting desk. So I've got these I've got these amazing looking fucking things that judge me over my painting desk now as this kind of source of, and I like all of them for different reasons. But I have the top drawer of stuff I've bought to paint that I am terrified to paint. Like there's the top drawer that, and I would like to just do something from the top drawer. I don't care what it is. There's a bunch of options in there, because I went at one stage there, I got a bit excited and went, oh, I like that. Yes, I'll paint that one day. And they're staying in the box. They're fucking terrifying. So I just need to break that this year as well. Would be lovely, just to do something from the top drawer.
That's achievable. I reckon you can do that.
It's doable. It's just it's less of actual. I would just need to actually fucking do it. Just
depends if you're going to paint the back or not.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. No one's going to see it. So look, that is kind of hobby goals for the year. There's a few things that I know I've got to get done, which is cool. There's, as I said, the kind of stretch goal of I need to do something from the top drawer, but the whole concept of just focusing on something for a month and then letting myself move on to the next project is hopefully a way to get myself continually motivated.
No, that sounds good. I mean, I've been trying to do something related with hobby every day so far this year, even if it's just a couple of bits of paint on a model. And, I mean, so far I've been successful. And, you know, like I said, I've got highlights of one colour to do on one model and then the base. And then that's 2 models done for the year, which, you know, it's been a while since I've actually been doing paint to model. So if I can just keep up a little bit of hobby a night, then the numbers should add up, is the theory anyway.
I mean, it can't go backwards.
No, exactly. What about purchases? You got anything on the horizon that you want to buy? Or get? I mean,
hobby related. That is, I don't know. There's actually a terrifyingly few things that I'm like, ooh, I desperately need that. Or I know that's coming this year and I'm, you know, saving my pennies for. I did do a little bit of a stock take of available Underworld warbands and realized which ones I liked that were pretty, which was problematic more than anything. But realistically, like, I think there's small things that I'm looking at, stuff like if Gaslands kicks off, sure, we'll get a couple of cars and some bits and shits and make that a thing, and that become a month's project. But I haven't got a huge hobby, oh my God, I need a thing that I can think of right now.
That's not a bad thing.
No.
Yeah. I probably tend to buy more things than I should. That being said, I do have a few things on my list. It sounds so stupid because I buy all the Spike magazines, but there's a new Blood Bowl almanac.
There is the almanac, isn't there?
Up for pre-order. I've got both the other two. I may as well get this one as well. I find it does help in our tournaments when I've got like the almanacs rather than carrying around half a dozen different Spike magazines to double check rules if anybody asks. So
I just don't check. It's what I say.
I need to.
It's the rules.
So there is that. There is one thing which I can already tick off. 3D printer. I'm biting the bullet, taking the plunge. And I figured, see, my birthday's coming up, and every time any of my family asks me what I want, I don't have an answer. Never know what I want, what I need, because if there's something I feel like, I'll just pick it up when I feel like it. But I've been thinking about getting a 3D printer for a while, and I thought, well, here's something that people can pitch into if they want to for the birthday present. So luckily the family's all on board. I said to the wife, I want to buy this, but it might be a bit, imposing. It might get in the way, rather. But she was on board. She's going to use it as well. So she's already picked out where it's going to go and a couple of things that she's going to use it for. So I've ordered that, and it's already on its way to me. So
they are ridiculously fast. And now you'll have the issue of people ask you what you want for your birthday, and you'll say, oh, I've already printed it.
That's all right.
And that's fundamentally, like, I was like, was there anything I desperately need? I'm like, well, actually, probably not, because I'm probably just going to print the damn thing.
Yep.
So there's not a lot of purchase required. It's mildly, it's very enabling.
Yeah, I'm both excited and terrified at the prospect. I have bought some resin to go with it, and I thought, is it worth getting a second lot of resin while I'm ordering, because I might go a bit crazy. So I bought a second and a third. So because it was 15% off if you buy three. So I thought, fuck it, why not?
And then you want to change resins to see what other ones are like, and then you want to mix in the other stuff. It's we'll talk.
Yeah, I'll need advice, and thank you and everyone in the Discord for their helpful advice, because it ended up with me pulling the trigger, and hopefully it won't cost very much at all in the long run if all the family's pitching in, which is nice.
It's an investment.
Yeah. That being said, I also want to get my hands on a Dark Elf team, because I don't have one. So I need to find one I like first. That's the prerequisite there, because all the Dark Elf teams I look at seem to look the same to me. And I also want to do the horror goblins. And I know you've got the files for those, don't you?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I did them for Why So Serious.
Yes.
They were the door prize.
Yeah, so I might have to borrow those files off you and test out the printer that way.
Calibrate.
Yeah. The other thing I'm hoping, this is a hope because I don't know that it's coming, but the Horus Heresy Siege of Terror books, the last two, so the End and the Death, volumes 2 and 3 are not out on paperback yet. And my whole set is in paperback. So I'm hoping that they come out in paperback so I can buy them and read them and finally finish the story. But that's it. That's, I'm sure there'll be so much more that comes up during the course of the year that I go,
I will
need
buy
that.
shit, but there is nothing, terrifyingly, for this particular hobby, there is nothing sitting here going, I absolutely need. So, no.
All right.
That's enough.
That's enough. 2025 events. So, Thoughtless Bowl 6.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look to probably do it about the middle of the year again.
Mm-hmm.
Why So Serious 4?
Mm-hmm.
End of the year.
Yep.
I think with the amount of everything else going on, and especially Blood Bowl tournaments in Victoria, I think that'll do us.
There's so many events and opportunities to game on.
Mm-hmm.
The other, and again, this shouldn't be a surprise, but there's moments where you have the light bulb actually flickers on for a minute and you're like, oh yeah, is that I feel like over the course of the year, I can accumulate a certain number of brownie points to have days off to do things, right?
Yep.
And over the last however number of years, 99% of those have been to run events, which I thoroughly enjoy, and it's, it is rewarding. But there is a point where you're like, well, actually, I would love to burn some of those brownie points to play in some stuff as well. So I think the piece for me is there's a few ideas floating around the traps of what they could look like, but it's actually trying to get an idea of what the year could look like. So I'm not trying to cram 3 things in 3 weekends kind of deal. And actually go, okay, what is reasonable? What's kind of fair on the family? What can I feasibly do without falling into a pit of, black goo? I'm not sure why it had to be black, but that was just how it turned out. But I might need the brain not to melt. But it's just, trying to actually go, all right, well, if this is here and this is here, there's something around here. What can we do around here this time? And actually kind of plan the year out so I know. And stuff will come out. We know stuff will come up. But theoretically, I've got something to work towards.
Yeah. Look, I totally back you on that. I totally agree. One of my goals this year is I want to attend 2 11s tournaments. And I figure, after helping out at Big V last year, I'd kind of like to just go along. I don't intend on taking them very seriously, but I'd like to go along, get the TCG name into the 11s crews a bit more, and actually attend 2 11s tournaments. So that being said, I have bought a ticket for Gold Crush, which is first weekend of Feb, I believe. No, I think it's later on in Feb. It's later on in Feb. It's like the 22nd or something like that. Because I figured get one out of the way early. And then, when things start getting tighter later on in the year, pick and choose, because I want to go to 2 11s events and I want to go to Big V. And if I can get to 2 11s events and play in them, then I'll help Johnny out in Big V again. If I can't, then I might play Big V as my second. So
11s is a big game.
I know, which is why I don't want to take it seriously, which is potentially why I'm wanting to print off a Goblin team. So,
I mean, that being said, I was a little bit sad I couldn't make Mayhem last year. that is definitely one that, particularly when it's local too, and it's easy to
that's
get
true.
to. It just
Mhm.
it all fell in a steaming heap. So if there was an 11th event like that definitely gets priority one.
Mhm.
And then we'll see. I feel like Big V is a big 2 days,
Mhm.
like 2 whole days of 11s. I may die. I may not come out of that alive. I absolutely need to get cheeky. Like that
Yep.
absolutely needs to happen. The other one that isn't confirmed as an actual event yet, but there has been lots of chatter, and I'm terrifyingly excited at the prospect. So my very first ever gaming tournament experience was at a tournament called Convic at the Burden Park Bowls Club. It was Warhammer back in the day. Now, Warhammer died. Convic still runs every year as a Kings of War event.
Okay.
When Convic was in its heyday, it was a 100+ player tournament. It is now not that big because Kings of War is a slightly more niche community. However, a few of, as I said, the guys I used to game with have been playing or picked up Warmaster, and there is chatter of Warmaster getting played as a second event, a second game at Convic. And so what this would mean is going back to literally the first ever gaming tournament experience venue event with the same people. And it's dangerous because they probably haven't increased the beer prices since then. And there's an exceptionally dodgy hotel across the road that is not at all anywhere you would want to stay, but it's very close. And there's a lot of memories of that venue and, going to those year after year. So if that eventuates, that is absolutely going to have to be on the cards as a contender of things to spend brownie points on.
Oh, for sure. That sounds ideal. I want to play a couple more Star Wars Unlimited nights. I haven't been to one of those for a couple of months, so I do want to get the old decks out again. The other thing I had on my mind was potentially a weekend TCG getaway event where a handful of us go hire an Airbnb or something and just play games all weekend. That appeals a lot to me.
I couldn't believe it was Clinton in the Discord being like, "Oh, you just spent a day, like you must have gone up to a mate's place and just played a whole day playing games," because the Discord was just update after update. Oh, we just played this, and then we've just played this, and now we've just played this. Holy hell, what is going on? He's like, "Yeah, I just got home. I spent the day at a mate's place." Like, wow,
exactly.
all right, that's a thing.
If we get a big enough place, we can get like 10, 12 people there, and then just people have games going on, and people can play what they want. We can organise a couple of things in advance, and people want to bring something else down to try it out. That shouldn't be an issue. No, that's, if I can work that out, work out the logistics of that, I think that would be a good, potentially annual thing. But we'll wait and see. Who knows? Who knows? We could all go away for a weekend and end up hating each other.
I mean, flip a coin. Either
Anything else event-wise you want to talk?
No, not event-wise. I think, there's a couple that we want to run, but I am very much on the same boat of going, let's not overcommit to too many things because I don't think that there's space in the calendar. And I'd like to support some other people that come and support our tournaments and our events as well. So that's definitely a thing. I don't know. I will get excited. Like, I know that there'll be at some stage, there'll be like a Melbourne figure painters open competition or something that I want to go up and go like at least ogle shit at. But we will see. We'll see what else comes up. I think, I don't have a firm grasp on what the calendar looks like. But ideally, I would love to be able to go, right, here is a calendar, here is all the stuff going on. I wanted to pick that this month and that in a couple of months and that down, and then there's the year planned. And that'd be the dream. But we will see.
We just need someone to collate everything that's happening in Victoria, gaming-wise, for a year.
We would need people to organise all the things happening for a year first.
Yeah. Everyone do that and then collate it, and then we can tick and cross where we find appropriate.
Right. That one.
Yeah. It's not hard. A couple more things I had on my to-do list for this year. Dice. We need to organise some dice. We have Patreons to thank, and a lot of Patreons get dice in their tier levels, so we need to organise that. And then we can start thinking of dice. I think Tats Tabletop is now doing dice, or is about to do dice. So
something. Yeah.
Yeah, going to have a chat with him. We did, 18 episodes last year.
That sounds like a plausible number.
I'd like to hit more than that. I think 30 is a good number. It's a little bit more than once every fortnight.
Yeah,
I think that's achievable.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely achievable. And I think, and again, kind of rather than number of, I think a couple of things that would be nice, and it would involve us getting our shit together. So let's roll off now. But semi-regularity, so it's not an always, we should maybe do something. We haven't been. I don't know. We should, that kind of piece would, I think be helpful. And I don't know content-wise, right? But I feel like it's exceptionally unstructured, which is fine, and it's a good little just. I think what we hope with this is it's a little bit of a, dial in, listen to us chat, catch up for a little bit, and just help the hobby motivation continue. That's kind of the dream. But I wonder whether there is some opportunities for us to go, right, for the next 4 episodes, we're talking about this thing, and we actually focus on something to give it just a little bit of if you're interested in this, listen along. And if you don't, well, or if you're curious, listen to the first one and then make a call.
Yeah. I think that's achievable. And I think we did that to a degree, not last year, the year before with Blood Bowl, and we were going through teams and strengths and weaknesses and all that sort of stuff. I think even some of these games that we've talked about tonight, there is the opportunity to go into a bit more detail than we have in the past. And by all means, we can look at doing ongoing segments, even, or whatever the case may be. But I'm with you.
I mean, it feels like it involves more admin that I generally like to sign up for, but preparation, what is this?
A little bit of admin won't hurt you. Come on. I mean, I whipped up this list in about 5 minutes.
I did it just before when you were checking on the kids before we hit record.
Exactly. Just do that the night before, right? And if we have a regular night, then we know what night before to be the night before. The last thing, this is purely a humorous add-on. We haven't had music in the middle of our episodes for a while.
We have not.
I wouldn't mind the odd song in there every now and then.
Yeah, copyright infringement is a thing.
Yeah,
we've had a bunch of YouTube ones pulled, but yeah.
Oh, have we? That's YouTube.
I mean,
nobody
who's looking at you? Who's listening to this via YouTube? Like, you don't even get the visuals.
No one.
What the actual hell? I think it just mutes it, if I'm honest, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it. No, I don't know. I
Occasional.
don't look into YouTube very often.
Occasional little. I mean, if we had segments, those segments would need some kind of segment intro jingle.
Yes.
Um,
Could really put you through your paces there, couldn't I?
That's right. Do you want to talk about things I want to buy music related? That's a whole other conversation. Anyway.
That's our other podcast.
Yeah.
Shit, Jace wants. That's 2025 for me. I think that's enough. But I think a lot of this is achievable with a little bit of effort. Not too much effort, but a little bit.
As long as it's only a little bit. Yeah, as I said, I think a lot of it is maybe a little bit of discipline. But I also think that I've tried to look at ways that I know, like you kind of look at past behavior and where you get tripped up and you go, all right, what's a way that I can kind of go and give myself a target and let myself achieve it and move on to the next thing without stalling? Like, how do we get rid of the stalls? And that's a lot of what I've kind of thought about. And I think, sometimes the gaming stall is often burnout because you've focused on either one thing for too long or too many things at once, or, you spend, like the events, you spend all your time organizing and not enough time doing, which has its own set of complications. So, again, it's just trying to find ways to avoid the stall.
Yeah. I think the main goal for me is going to be those off Tuesday nights and trying to get a game in every now and then. So we got Gaslands this week. Next week is the fortnightly Crisis Protocol meetup. So could even jump on board on that. That sort of thing. Just picking and choosing. Doesn't have to be every week, but
it could be.
It could. I mean, it could be. As long as we're, not as long as, I'm just saying, to get through a couple of different games just means not Blood Bowl every single Tuesday. I mean, which has been fine in the past, but
let's also consider a game of sevens takes maybe an hour. The night is longer than that. There's nothing to. Why can't we have both?
No, that's up to you. And to you, the listener.
No, it's not up to them. They're playing Blood Bowl. Just understand that.
We're playing in the league. If you're listening to this, you're playing in the league. If you haven't signed up, sign up now. You know where the link is. Do it.
I've signed them up. It's fine.
Okay. You've signed up enough teams for everybody.
They do. Yeah. I will play all of them.
I know you would too. 16 games a fortnight. That's doable for you.
Yeah. That's 8 a Tuesday. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, no problems. They're short games. We do have a giveaway going on Facebook. That will finish at the end of this month, so make sure you have a look at that if you're interested. Enter your submission on there. The details are all in the post. Patreons, as usual, will get extra entries, but only if they enter. So you need to, if you are a Patreon and you want those extra entries, you still need to enter the thing in the first place.
Meet us halfway. God damn it.
Yes.
Your hard-earned dollars are not enough.
Speaking of hard-earned dollars, thank you as always to our Patreons, especially the Thoughtless Patreons, Alice, Archie, Clinton, Craig, Gertzy, Jared, Kingsley, and Yuri. But thank you to everyone that's listened. It's quite humbling to know that many people have downloaded and then left on in the background while they went to another room and did something more important.
Just screamed into the void.
It is, this is more than we ever expected. So thank you. If you want to be a patron, you want to help support and help us do these sort of giveaways, there are various different tiers that you can choose, anywhere from a couple of bucks a month Each tier has different options. Choose the options that's right for you. If you don't want to support financially or can't, just give us a like and a follow. That's definitely helping as well.
And if you can't, give us a lick.
Yes.
I'm all
preferably
for that. Like,
on a Tuesday. That's easy.
Yeah, that works.
Imagine if we got there at roughly the same time one Tuesday, and then everybody came up and licked us, and the expressions that we'd get from people that don't listen.
I'm on board.
I'm on board too.
Yeah, sign me up. And look, the other one is this is kind of things that we have thought about that we would like to do for us. It's a very selfish episode, but we all think of it.
It really is.
I'd also love to know what other people would like to hear about, to see us experience or endure. I'd love to know what other people are aiming for and where we can maybe tag in as well. So, other events that you're super excited about that we should know about. Is there a game or a hobby that you're like, no, this is my 2025, I'm all in, and you guys need to get on board? Because, there's an off Tuesday. You can talk to me about that.
Yeah. We are nothing if not impressionable, and, I have what is known as addictive personalities. Yeah. Several of them. Most of them are hobby related. Some of them are not hobby related and not healthy, but we'll go into that later.
It's a problem that's another podcast.
That's it. Our third podcast, Brett's Issues. Anyway, that's enough from us. Thanks for listening. Laters.
Gotcha. Cheers.